That is some impressive amounts of snowfall adding up. It could very well be historic. Top 10 snow event ever in portions of Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, even into northwest Ohio as we go throughout the next few days or so, and then it pushes on into the northeast. This is going to be a big storm, and I'm meteorologist Brian Ivy. Brought to you by Snowplow News. This video, we're going to break it all down here. Storm severity, purple is extreme. That's how rare this type of storm is, to have widespread foot plus of snow. That's what we're likely looking at. This is going to be that main corridor here, but major amounts of impact surrounding that. Pretty widespread area. This includes Detroit, this includes Cleveland, including near the Columbus and Dayton area, Indianapolis, back in towards central Illinois. Precipitation totals are very impressive. This is wintertime. Not normally are you looking at an event producing 2 inches or more of total precipitation. So ice, snow, sleet, rain total. So you're pushing all this moisture up into the cold air. So where you have that snow and ice boundary with all that amount of moisture, you are looking at, unfortunately, a lot of wintry accumulation as well. And there's the best risk for a foot of snow, where those more major to extreme impacts will likely be. Can there be 15, 20 inches of snow in spots? Yes, absolutely, with this type of storm. It's not the going to break the record for the largest storm ever or anything like that. We're not talking about a major blizzard. We're not talking about major destruction from this type of an event, but in the grand scheme of things, this is a well above average winter storm, and there's the shape of it. It's going to come in a couple waves. This will be the first wave. You can see it, just a little area of icing. Most of it's rain on the southern side, and then this second wave coming in from portions of Oklahoma and Kansas, moving into Missouri, as this one pushes into Buffalo, Niagara Falls, up into Toronto, across Lake Ontario, off towards the northeast. This is going to be a much more pronounced icing and sleet area across portions of central southern Ohio, back into the Ohio River Valley of Indiana, and in towards Arkansas, western Tennessee, with snow and heavy at times on that northern half, with a good amount of lift in the atmosphere. So this moves through across portions of Pennsylvania, New York, in towards New England, then out to sea. It's not going to be a huge issue at that point for much of the East Coast. But there's another storm possible that could brew. This kind of like second wave gets picked up that's stalled out across the southeast, and that's going to be pushing off towards the northeast and likely produce an area of snow even down into portions of maybe the Carolinas and Virginia again, and up in towards New Jersey and New York, and moving back out to sea once it gets up into New England. So got a few things to watch over the next week, but otherwise it's going to be fairly quiet as we go through the weekend. Another system trying to push off towards the northeast. Looks to be a little bit more milder, bringing mainly rain. Finally, we are nice and quiet and can melt a little bit of snow with brief warm-ups, but also pretty cold air overall. We're going to get some decent amounts of cold air, but yeah, quiet across the country into the middle portions of next week. So snowfall forecast, this is impressive. Look at that, a widespread area. We think of a foot plus. Some could be 18 inches or more in that main band, and around that is a very widespread area of a good 8 to 12 inches of snow. And then there's going to be this sharp cutoff on the southern portion of the system where that sleet and freezing rain and just plain rain really cut into it. This high pressure area is going to sit here, and it's going to really bring down the Arctic air, and it's going to suppress the system far enough south where you have that warm air pushing in from the south, and that overruns that warm air aloft. So you actually have cold air at the surface, cold air well aloft, and then this warm air layer, and that melts any of the snow and turns it back into rain, but then it falls to the ground and just turns into ice because it's cold enough. So this is kind of that corridor of where you're watching for some decent icing. No, we're not going to be encased with 1 inch plus of ice, but definitely spots that pick up major icing of 1/4 of an inch or so. Temperatures warm back up on the backside, and then major cold pushing on into this. This is not going to be like last February, but extreme cold for a brief amount of time into Texas. Then temperatures start warming up into the northern plains, while still a lot of cold around across portions of the Midwest, Great Lakes, deep south. And then there's a little bit of a pattern change. Warm air by about February 9th, 10th, 11th will encapsulate a pretty good portion of the country. I think the second half of February is going to be much more up and down. Thank you so much for watching this video. Really appreciate it. Hopefully it's good information. Stay tuned for more updates throughout the storm.